it's Em here as promised to discuss the book I just finished reading, which was Hidden Valley Road by Robert Kolker. It was an Oprah Book Club pick from 2020. I think I found it from the same email list that I get periodically, and I find a lot of interesting books on it. So, yeah, this one is about a very large family, 12 kids and the two parents, and 6 of the 12 kids develop schizophrenia. Now, the book is part biography because it is talking to and about the family, the Galvin family, and part social science, psychology, and hard science, I guess, genetic science, because basically between chapters about the family, and it goes kind of chronologically from when the two parents met, even a little bit about the two parents' childhoods and family histories, because obviously genetics is a part of this story. And then through, till almost today, right? If the book was published in 2020, it goes relatively chronologically talking about how schizophrenia arose and permeated this family. And then between those chapters are chapters about the study of schizophrenia from early on, like Freud and Jung, and then again through today, because the Galvin family was used, their DNA and their blood and stuff was used to help study schizophrenia and, develop ideas on how to treat it. So, yeah, it's a big book. It's a lot. 12 kids, and the oldest was born in 1945, and the youngest was born in 1965, so that's a pretty big spread. The author does talk to some of the family members, so it's part biography, but there is an amount of contact with the subject. It's helpful that the front of the book has a list of all the family members and their birth dates, and if they've passed away, also the dates that they've passed, so that's helpful. And then on the chapters about the family, there's a list of family members, and in bold will be the names of the ones that the chapter is discussing. So that helps keep track of who's who, because it's a lot of people to keep track of, obviously. And I was constantly referencing the list of family members going, wait, which one is this again? So yeah, it was interesting. I gave it 3 stars. It's probably more like 3.5. And it's always hard to rank or rate a nonfiction book, right? In my mind, though, I'm not rating their life story or anything like that. I'm rating the way the information is presented. Is it compelling? Is it well written? Is it interesting? All of the things that go into that. Is it coherent even? And given the amount of information here, I think this author did a good job. I will say by the end, I was getting kind of exhausted by all of the information, which may or may not be kind of part of the point. You feel the exhaustion of these people dealing with this their whole lives, and it's a lot. And it's not a short book either. I say it's not a short book. For me, it's not a short book. It's probably only about 330 something pages of actual text, because the back is all notes and and all that kind of thing. Yeah, by the end I was ready to be done, and though I felt it was interesting, there was a certain amount of optimism, hopefulness in it. It's worth reading to the end to get the full kind of circle feeling from start to finish. So I'm glad I read all the way through and didn't just put it down thinking, okay, I get the gist, which I thought about doing a couple of times towards the end. I was like, do I really need to read the rest of this? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to stick it out. There's only, 50 pages left or whatever. So yeah, if you're interested in this kind of thing, and I think you have to be pretty interested because it goes into some real detail about the Human Genome Project and which chromosomes they were looking at and what kinds of studies they were doing. It goes into the weeds a little bit, and you're getting into the nitty gritty about these family members and how many times they were in and out of different facilities, and how at least one of them had to be given over as a ward of the state so that he could get the help he needed and into the facilities he needed to be able to get into. And so there's a sense of the system being kind of not ideal. I mean, you do see that it gets better over time if we're talking about the oldest son starting to show signs of schizophrenia, around his early 20s. And, going through to today, that's a long period of time, and a lot has changed from then to now. Thank goodness. We're still not all the way there yet. And this book doesn't really go deep into the system a whole lot. It does talk about the various places that some of the brothers ended up in. No, and it's interesting that only brothers ended up having schizophrenia, or being diagnosed with it, I should say. But then again, 10 of the 12 kids were male, so maybe it's just a matter of odds. They do kind of touch on that a little bit, trying to figure out if that had any impact, like gender or whatever. Trigger warning for sexual assault in this book. It is talked about, and it to some extent detailed. So if that makes you uncomfortable, you might not want to read this. There's some, there's drug usage. Because by the time they're in the 60s and 70s, there's a lot of the free love stuff going on. I think one of the sisters was following the Grateful Dead around, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was good, but not for everyone. And almost not for me. I mean, I'm glad I stuck it out. Like I said, I'm glad I read to the end and got kind of the full circle, kind of the sense of closure and the optimism that it provides. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think the average person, if they're not really, really interested in the subject matter and can't really get interested even in the family or some of the family members, then they're going to be bored with it, and they'll put it down pretty quickly. So yeah, that is my take on Hidden Valley Road. If you've read it, let me know your thoughts. If you know other books, I don't know, fiction or nonfiction, that deal well with schizophrenia or other mental health issues, I'm always interested in kind of psychology type stuff. So let me know that too. And right now I'm reading S.A. Crosby's, I think it's his first book actually, My Darkest Prayer. It's very similar in tone to All the Sinners Bleed, which I liked a lot, so I am enjoying this one. And I have on deck The Children, which is a new book. I just picked it up from the library because I think I'm the first person to get it. I put it on hold when I heard about it, and it was still on order. And then I got notification that it was ready for pickup, and it looks brand spanking new. So I will read that after I finish the S.A. Crosby, because The Children is a 2-week, because it's new. It's got a 2-week limit. But I'm 25% of the way through the S.A. Crosby already. It seems like a pretty fast read, and it is not long. I guess he comes from a background of writing short stories, and so this was maybe his first long book. But my first book, The K-Pro, is actually one of my shortest. It might even be my shortest novel too, So I think a lot of writers, novelists start out maybe a little more close to the bone, and then they add flesh, or they pad it a little bit more, or maybe just have a little bit more story to tell in subsequent books. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that, I guess. And until next time, take care.